Well, hey guys, I'm here at Walgreens to check out what's new in the realm of drugstore skincare. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, and in these videos, we go through the skincare and I share with you tips, tricks, how to use these different products, and we talk about different skin conditions and how products can support those issues. I don't know who you've been talking to. If you're using Vaseline on your face, you don't actually have to actively pursue washing it off. Of course, eventually you're going to wash your face and whatever is left is going to come off. But what I'm talking about is if you put this on your face at night, the popular trend of slugging, then the following morning, if you don't feel like washing your face, you don't have to. And in many cases, that's going to undo the whole point of using the Vaseline on your face. For example, if you've got dry, irritated skin, you're looking to help accelerate barrier repair and recovery. In addition to using petrolatum and or moisturizers in general, you also want to consider backing down on the frequency of cleansing because every time you cleanse can be disruptive to the skin barrier. So don't feel as though you actively have to wash this off. And that really goes for many skincare products and ingredients. The exception would be short contact therapy approaches like masks as well as washes, which obviously you're going to rinse off the skin. If you have dry elbows, dry knees, a moisturizer with urea is a great option. A lot of people mistake that dry, thickened skin for hyperpigmentation, but really when the skin gets dry and thickened, called lichenified, it can appear darker, but rather than seeking out ingredients like hydroquinone, just aggressively hydrating with something like urea is a great approach. I really like the Cetaphil Rough and Bumpy, but another one is amlactin. Or can't sleep on this Gold Bond Pure Moisture. It has urea in it as well, and you can use it not only for the body but for the face. So urea is a keratolytic. It helps not only hydrate, it's a natural moisturizing factor, but it softens and exfoliates dry, rough, heaped up skin. And overall, that can improve skin luminosity. What's this Rough and Bumpy Skin from Gold Bond? This looks like a cream, gluconolactone and urea. So gluconolactone is a polyhydroxy acid. Gluconolactone is very hydrating. This also has urea, like I said. Hydroxyethyl urea is just another name for it. And it has petrolatum, one of my favorite ingredients for reducing water loss and aiding in barrier recovery. Now this does have citrus extract, fruit extracts, which potentially could be irritating. I'm still in the hunt for CeraVe's new cleansing oil. Maybe it's over in the facial cleansers. We shall see. And I know I can just order it on the Amazonian, but I'm just kind of curious to see like if it's in stock anywhere at this point. It wasn't at my local Target. Let me know if you've seen it out and about. I've only seen it online at this point. It's interesting that the Viviscal dietary supplement is in this cage, whereas the shampoo and conditioner are not. I guess this is an easy to steal item. This kind of looks like something you would keep a lizard in, right? Like I mean, obviously not big enough. Okay, so I have a video on YouTube reviewing this product, Viviscal dietary supplements. To cut to the chase, unless you are deficient in something, which is rare, honestly, they're unlikely to actually do anything. The studies on these things like Viviscal, or I also have a video all about Nutrafol, they're industry sponsors, they have limitations. The endpoints that they're measuring are not like very consistent, and it's got biotin. I've talked about high dose biotin is so common. You know, prior to 2007, it was almost unheard of for people to be taking such high doses of biotin. This is like a very modern phenomenon where because of the hair loss supplement industry and the nutraceuticals, so many people are just taking high dose biotin. And you're like, well, isn't that good for hair, skin, and nails? No. There's no evidence that biotin is helpful for hair growth in the absence of biotin deficiency, which is super rare. But the problem with taking such high amounts of biotin is that it interferes with blood tests that you might get at your doctor's office to rule out a thyroid problem or to rule out that you're having a heart attack. And people ask me, how does that happen? Well, the lab tests are a type of tests that are called biotinylated assays. And so the readout is dependent on a tag, and excess biotin in your blood from taking these supplements interferes with that tag detection and messes up the readings. Because these are supplements, they're not required to tell you that. It's not necessarily common knowledge, and people take these. Plus, biotin is in so many things. Like, I find it added to like a lot of energy drinks I've noticed in the grocery store. So you may not be aware that you're taking like very high amounts of biotin. It also has collagen. Now I've got videos on collagen, marine collagen, collagen peptides. There is some research to suggest they are absorbed and may be helpful for improving skin hydration and improving hair. However, those are all industry sponsored. And of course, if you have any allergies, you've got to be careful because marine collagen, for example, if you're allergic to fish or shellfish, this could be a problem for you. So you got to be careful there if you're allergic. But the other main issue with collagen is that dietary collagen supplements is that they can cause heartburn, headache, gastric upset, but by and large, they're pretty well tolerated. Now, the vitamin C and the acerola fruit powder. Taking vitamin C is not really, unless you have scurvy, taking vitamin C is unlikely to be helpful. You're likely just going to pee it out. Niacinamide may cause flushing. Iron, part of the workup for hair loss is checking iron levels and if necessary, replacing. But to just take iron because you have hair loss, it can be problematic because iron supplements can leave you constipated. Zinc, you have to be careful with. Yes, it's super important for growing healthy hair, but it can interfere with copper absorption, so you got to be careful there. Check out my video on the best foods for hair. We talk about different nutrients that go into building hair. The cells responsible for making your hair are some of the fastest growing cells in the body, the fastest dividing. That's why when people get treated with chemotherapy to target cancers, they lose hair because those medications, those drugs target rapidly dividing cells. So that's why the hair is affected. Speaking of hair loss, Rogaine minoxidil is an FDA-approved over-the-counter medication for androgenetic alopecia, pattern hair loss, which can happen in men and women. It's interesting, right? The brand name Rogaine is under lock and key. Along with this, what is this? Like a kind of a concealer for thinning hair? Yeah, that's what that looks like. That's handy, actually. Almost like a mascara, in effect, for your hair. Same kind of thing, just create the illusion of thicker hair and more and increased density just by depositing fiber. So that's cool. I'd like to give that a try myself, actually, sometime. But what I was pointing out, and I got distracted, is like, isn't it interesting that the store brand version, same drug, does not need to be under lock and key? You can use this as a side note. It's going to work the same as the name brand stuff. As a matter of fact, I often recommend people, if you have a Costco membership, I'm not sponsored by Costco, but if you have a Costco membership, get the Kirkland minoxidil. It's like a very good price point. Now, a question I get a lot is like, is it okay to use shampoo as a body wash? And the short answer is yes. Like, your skin's not going to fall off if you do that. Shampoos are typically milder in their cleansing action because they're formulated to be able to cleanse the scalp of excess sebum. The other thing about the formulation of shampoos is that they really have to balance cleansing without destroying hair strands and leaving the hair strands tangled and unmanageable, whereas body washes don't have to do that. So while it's okay to generally use a shampoo as a body wash, I would not do the reverse. I would not use a body wash as a shampoo because it can definitely leave your hair a tangled mess because of the pH and the formulation overall. Where I find that shampoos as body washes are most valuable outside of a scenario where you just ran out of body wash and you want to use your shampoo to get the job done. The situation where it's really helpful is if you have conditions on the body related to Malassezia yeast, which is a common issue this time of year when it's really hot and humid. Anti-dandruff shampoos target that yeast, reduce the burden of it, and can help those conditions, namely tinea versicolor, little patches of discoloration, flakiness, come and go. Lathering an anti-dandruff shampoo to those affected areas, leaving it on the skin for a few minutes, and then rinsing off can be really helpful. Dandruff shampoos with salicylic acid you may find are helpful if you have acne. You could use a shampoo that way, or you could use, they make salicylic acid body washes. Ooh, this is new. The Cantu, their Oil Sheen Deep Conditioning Spray. This looks interesting for curly textured hair types that are more vulnerable to breakage. I wonder if that is... I'd worry that might dry out your hair too much, just because a lot of times these sprays can be more on the drying side. Lanolin alcohol, shea butter. I'd worry too that might end up getting like on your forehead and triggering acne-like breakouts. A lot of like oilier pomades and things can do that. I would wonder about that just because of the way it's aerosolized and sprayed. Speaking of spray, we have a Walgreens SPF 50 continuous spray, water resistant. Now, I did a reel recently, short, reel, whatever you want to call all these vertical videos on the issue with spray. And I always point out, you know, sprays, they're a fine option if you like them, but they are prone to under application. And what I illustrated in that video is that sprays are pretty good at getting on the skin within the diameter of the spray spritz, but outside of that is really where you get a lot of under application, and people will often come in with a sunburn after using sprays and using them liberally, I will say, and reapplying them as directed, because the spray only gets really within that diameter and it misses outside. So in order to use these, you've got to spray them not only liberally, but you actually need to rub them in to get those skip areas around the spray diameter. That's really a common pitfall there. And the issue is that these are designed to be mostly sheer, right, transparent, and they're really fast absorbing. So people don't necessarily realize that they have underapplied or missed areas. Like in contrast with like a cream or a lotion, you have that visual cue where you see it on the skin. You don't necessarily see this, and you may feel some of the aerosol, but you may not actually be getting good application outside of the spray diameter. Are these new from Walgreens? I feel like they are. We have an SPF 30, an SPF 50, and an SPF 70. The 70 is $9.99, the 50 is $8.99, and the 30 is $8.49. Now, the higher SPF turns out to be better at protecting you from a burn. These all are organic sunscreens, aka chemical, so they should not leave a cast. They do have fragrance, which is a common allergen. I personally do not care to have fragrance in my sunscreens. I find that can be very headache inducing. I wonder how this feels going on the skin, if it's fast absorbing or if it's greasy. So one of my favorite fast absorbing body sunscreens is the La Roche-Posay Melton Sunscreen Milk, or the the Bondi Sands fragrance free sunscreen body lotion, SPF 50. Both of those are like not greasy at all, in my opinion, absorb very quickly. Eucerin also makes some great ones, but I've been trying out some store brand versions of high SPF body sunscreens. For those of you in Texas, recently I tried out the HEB SPF 100, and that I was really hoping was going to be a fast absorbing, non-greasy one. Oh my gosh. That is very, very greasy and not fast absorbing at all, and super duper shiny. So definitely, you know, it's good that I tried it out. I don't recommend that one because the humidity here just makes that very uncomfortable. So we have shaving. I have a video, as a side note, that's pretty recent on tips to avoid ingrown hair. So you need to watch that if that, you know, you're doing body hair removal. And in that video, you know, I give a lot of tips on how to avoid razor burn. Like, don't go over the same area multiple times. Don't press too hard. Always use a lubricating shave gel. And make sure that you are replacing the blade regularly. Consider electric clippers. But you know, you have other options as well for body hair removal: waxing, or you could also do a chemical depilatory. Waxing is certainly an option, although obviously if you've ever done it, you know firsthand how irritating it can be. Chemical depilatories like Nair, they too can be super irritating, especially if you don't follow the directions, you leave them on the skin too long. But one advantage of using a chemical depilatory like Nair or waxing over shaving is that these are going to remove the hair a little bit below the skin surface, whereas shaving is going to cut it at the skin surface. That subtle little difference buys you like an extra day, if you will, of not depending on how fast your hair grows, of not having to pursue another round of hair removal, just like, because it goes a little bit deeper. If you're going to use a chemical depilatory, not only do I encourage you to follow the instructions, because you can easily burn the skin. I mean, the way they work is by dissolving the bonds and whatnot of the protein. But if you let them incubate on the skin too long, they're going to do the same thing to your skin, cause skin problems. So be very careful. Make sure you rinse them off very thoroughly, and don't follow that. After you rinse them off, don't use any exfoliating, because they themselves are like really taxing on your skin barrier. There's no need to go exfoliating after using a chemical depilatory. It can really cause a lot of irritation for you, so be careful in that regard. Nair has a face cream specifically for hair removal on the face. Now, I have not tried this. See, the ingredient in these is calcium, is thioglycolates. That's what gives that odor. It does have fragrance in it, which can be irritating, but I suppose that's to mask the odor. Now, the other thing that a lot of people want to pursue is at-home laser hair removal. So most of those are, I mean, they're not technically lasers. They're usually, they're going to be IPL, intense pulse light. So that's not technically a laser because it's multiple wavelengths, but you know, technical jargon aside, those devices, they can help cut down on they can help slow down the rate of hair growth. So overall, they can reduce like kind of hair density and cut down on the amount of times that you have to shave. So they certainly can be helpful. You have to be really careful though if you have a deeper skin tone, because they can leave you with hyperpigmentation. And if you are going to use one, don't use them if you have been tan, if you've gotten a tan, if you've been in the sun a lot, because that will put you at risk for more adverse events like hyperpigmentation or burning. But they certainly are an option. The only thing I've noticed with a lot of them is, like, depending on what area you're going to target, they can be very laborious because they often have a very small head. So if you're going to do like your entire back, it's like, good luck with that. Or if you're going to do like your whole leg. But if you're just going to do your underarm area, then sure. I had laser hair removal a long time ago, and it has cut down on me. It removed a lot. It's substantially reduced density overall. I mean, I rarely really genuinely have to shave, but I still do have to shave. But what I was going to tell you guys is, prior to having that, I was one of those people who like had to shave under my arms every single day. Otherwise, you know, I would have full-blown underarm hair, which is fine, actually. No problem with that. That was just not what I was interested in. So yeah, having to shave every single day can be really annoying. Plus, it can be super irritating, especially if you have like hidradenitis or you've got underarm irritation. So using the IPL, the at-home IPL stuff to just cut down on slow down the rate of hair growth, it really can help you not have to shave as much. You just have to be motivated to use it. Now, one thing about body hair removal under the arm specifically is that if you deal with body odor, it can actually cut down on body odor because it's just less surface area to accumulate sweat and for the bacteria on your skin to break down the sweat and lead to body odor. Looks like Walgreens, I think I shared this with you guys last time, Walgreens has a version of Neutrogena's Ultra Sheer Dry Touch. This does have fragrance in it, but the Neutrogena one I really like, so I imagine this is pretty good too. And this product is very fast absorbing. Like, if it didn't have the fragrance, I would use it a lot more. What's the Sheer Face Mist? No oily feel, water resistant. You know, again, when it comes to mists like this, you want to actually, if you're going to use them on the face, you actually, like it says here, you want to spray it into your hands first and then apply to face, and you actually have to rub it in. So I'm glad they tell you to do that. And one of the main reasons to spray sprays into your hand rather than directly into your face too is to avoid not only inhalation, but the aerosol of the sunscreen can get to your eye membrane, the mucous membranes around your eyes and your nose, and around your mouth, which is not ideal. Like, we don't know, it could be irritating to the mucous membranes, and God forbid you did inhale, it could be, aerosols can be damaging, harmful to your lungs. So regardless of the instructions, I don't recommend spraying them directly onto your face for those reasons. If you get a sunburn, I don't recommend using these pain relief gels because they have lidocaine in them, which is an anesthetic that can, yes, alleviate the discomfort, but allergies to lidocaine, especially in the setting of applying it to a sunburn, which is wounded, vulnerable skin, can result in pretty significant it can result in becoming sensitized to lidocaine and subsequent allergy, and can cause some problems for you. So I don't recommend using those. Now, what is this one? The After Sun Gel. Aloe can be soothing, but a lot of these have fragrance, which, you know, if you're not bothered by fragrance, that's fine. But if you think about putting it on a burn, that's really a scenario where you can run into more problems with fragrance because, again, a burn is very vulnerable skin. I just can't get over the price point on these Olay Eczema Therapy products, $54.99. At least it's on sale now for $40. But yeah, I mean, great ingredients, don't get me wrong. Like, this does look like a really good eczema moisturizer, colloidal oatmeal, but panthenol, niacinamide, I bet this is pretty good. I mean, obviously I can't tell 100% just from the ingredients, but these are very good ingredients for eczema, for really anyone, honestly. Like, you don't have to have eczema to derive the benefits from those ingredients. If you want to get good results from a cosmetic procedure, here's a tip. Prior, like a couple of weeks, say you're getting, I don't know, microneedling, laser resurfacing, to really get more bang for your buck, I suggest doing a like little skincare reset. If you have a very complicated routine, or maybe you're not someone who really does much skincare, just stick to very basic mild cleanser, moisturizer, and aggressive sunscreen. That way you go in with less irritation prone skin, and the sunscreen aspect is going to help reduce the chances that your skin heals with hyperpigmentation if you have a tendency towards that, and it's also going to help to allow for better healing in the long run and recovery, and ultimately that's gonna make a difference for the results that you get. So these products from Aveeno are great options. They're fragrance-free facial cleanser I really like. You can get it as a refill, and then this daily moisturizing face cream is really good as well. Colloidal oatmeal, it's hydrating, it's soothing, it helps with the barrier, it has anti-inflammatory compounds. I came over here to the baby section because this is a product, we were talking about using shampoos as body washes and conditions related to that little yeast, Malassezia. So you can develop tinea versicolor, but also you can develop seborrheic dermatitis on the face. And zinc pyrithione is an anti-dandruff ingredient that works well for fighting seborrheic dermatitis. But this Dr. Eddie's Happy Cappy is a really good like face wash for people who deal with seborrheic dermatitis. It's free of fragrance. It has panthenol, which is hydrating, glycerin, a humectant, and it also has dipotassium glycyrrhizate, which can help with the redness. This is a really good anti-seborrheic cleanser. This is a great moisturizer, the Q10 Anti-Wrinkle Cream. Q10 is good. It's an antioxidant. It is otherwise known as ubiquinone. It gets into the skin relatively easily, helps ward off oxidative stress. So if you are looking for a night cream to help with barrier recovery, and recovery from oxidative stress from environmental stressors like pollutants, this is one I really like. I also love this hybrid sunscreen from them. This is a really good one. It does leave a bit of a cast, but it's very good. It doesn't burn or sting around the eyes, free of fragrance. You also can use these baby wash and shampoo formulas. They're pretty mild. They make for a really nice hand wash if you are susceptible to drying hands. Like a baby wash and shampoo is often a really good hand wash. They're not drying. Well guys, the drugstore is never a disappointing time. I hope you enjoyed this video. On the end slate, I'm going to put a recent skincare shop with me video, so watch that one next if you enjoy these types of videos. But if you like this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.